Funding for Schaefer-Ellis is provided by
Surfshark VPN, the sponsor of today's video. Okay, so for some reason before this movie came out, everyone decided to be a little bitch about it and whine about its character designs and the fact that it's about a teenage Asian girl. You people are truly exhausting. And because of how vitriolic this movie's haters are, I was kinda hoping I would really love it to prove all the annoying people wrong. But I don't know, man. I didn't really like it. Sorry. I feel kind of bad. This isn't an infuriating movie like Raya or Ralph Breaks the Internet or even to some extent Onward. And it's very clearly a passion project rooted from writer-director Domishi's own life and experiences, which is cool. But I was just kinda bored by most of it. I'll point out some positives first. It is pretty funny, with quite a few good jokes here and there, as well as some great, expressive character design. Yeah, I really like the character design, sue me. I like the dad character, and he has a really nice scene later on in the movie. The reason he has that scene is contrived as all hell, but it's a nice scene. The climax is kind of fun. The goofiness of the scenario and the way it's presented robs it of any potential emotional impact it might have had for me, but it's a fun scene. And, have I mentioned yet that this movie is better than Onward? And Cars? Okay, now for my problems. In general, I just found this to be an incredibly predictable and formulaic film. I've seen all of this stuff before in other movies, which would normally be fine if this movie did these things differently enough or better than those other movies. But it really doesn't. Like, they briefly touch on generational trauma here, 4 months after Encanto released, and explore the topic with much more depth, nuance, and emotional resonance. This movie also doesn't shy away from talking about menstruation, which is nice. Talking about it should be normalized. It's a natural process like going to the bathroom, and it shouldn't be stigmatized. But Only Yesterday already talked about this topic and did it in a more grounded and far less immature way. Like, this movie tries to equate periods to turning into a giant red panda, and the metaphor briefly works, but then falls apart since it's only happening to May, not other girls. And it's some mystical ancient blessing that she can just permanently banish. So, I don't know, it's not really the same thing. Speaking of that ancient blessing though, when the mom was telling the story of Sun Yi and how she became a red panda to protect her children, all I could think was, damn, wish I was watching that movie instead. I racked my brain trying to figure out why this movie wasn't really working for me when something like Luca did, since that was also a series of slice-of-lifey misadventures about someone keeping a secret from their parents and trying to hide the fact that they're a monster from society. And I think it's because with Luca, there were clear stakes. Like, these townsfolk were gonna murder these fish boys if they found out they were fish boys. Here, everyone finds out about May being a panda and they just love that. She's super popular now because she's a panda. So I guess now there's no stakes other than hiding the fact that she's being a panda for profit from her mother. How did her mother not find out about that for so long? She's so snoopy. How did she not? Like, huh? I also think it's kind of weird how none of the other kids besides May's friends like her unless she's a panda. It kind of seems incredibly shallow, like just because she has this one cool thing about her that has nothing to do with her actual personality, that's why people want to hang out with her. I think it would have been a lot nicer if people come for the panda, but then actually get to know May as a person and become her friends. But yeah, no, everybody doesn't like her until she exploits her cool superpower for profit. Alright. Honestly, good for these girls for hustling all these basic bitches and raising enough money for the Boys Who Cry concert. They earned it. Another thing I really didn't like in this was the mother character and how cartoonishly overbearing she was. Like, there's being overprotective, and then there's seeing a drawing your daughter made of her kissing a convenience store clerk, and then going to that convenience store and shoving these drawings in his face for everyone in the store to see. I'm sorry, this woman is a lunatic with absolutely no self-awareness, and I couldn't get invested in May's embarrassment in that scene because it just felt so detached from reality. Same with when she lurks outside a school window to give May her pads, instead of just buzzing in and giving them to the front office like a normal fucking person. This movie is so aggressively cartoonish, which is a good thing for the comedy, but not when attempted comedy completely overshadows reality. Take a look at something like Mitchells vs. the Machines, which is another aggressively cartoonish movie. But the emotional moments in this movie hit because they're more realistic. Katie is upset with her dad for accidentally breaking her laptop and canceling her flight ticket to college in favor of a road trip. In spite of how silly this movie usually is, these are realistic, subdued actions that inform the character conflicts. And if you're specifically looking for embarrassment that hits closer to home rather than being absurd, the fucking Talking Fish movie has you covered. Marlin is prone to larger-than-life outbursts, but his overprotective nature doesn't feel forced or unnatural. I could see a parent acting like Marlin does in real life. but this is preposterous. Also, this is just a nitpick, but I like how when the mom first sees May's panda form, the guard that was trying to take her down is just looking elsewhere for some reason. Like, everyone else in the classroom looking out the window and not seeing May is believable, but for real, what the fuck was this guy looking at? And the mom's whole journey throughout the movie is just so predictable as well. As soon as she points out that her panda got sealed inside the necklace, I knew, okay, the necklace is gonna break and then she'll turn into the panda later. And once May's panda thing stopped being a problem for the other kids, I knew, okay, the main conflict is with the mom now, and the climax will be when the mom turns into a giant panda, and then they gotta stop her because she's mad and on a rampage. And like, the second I saw the grandmother's scar, I immediately knew, okay, the mom scratched her when she was a kid. I genuinely cannot remember the last time a Pixar movie was this predictable, and I really wouldn't mind so much if I was more invested in the story or characters. But the story is pretty low stakes, and the characters are alright. I like May enough, and her bond with her friends is kinda sweet, but they're not quite endearing enough to carry a pretty loose and ultimately uninteresting narrative. I really do feel bad about not liking this one. It does come from a clear place of passion, and I do think it's a good story for young girls trying to find their place in the world and live their own life. But I just didn't get a whole lot out of it. It's not like I can't relate to a young female Asian protagonist. I mean, Whisper of the Heart is my favorite animated movie of all time, largely because I see myself in Shizuku. And I can still empathize with a character I don't relate to, like Kaguya in The Tale of the Princess Kaguya. We have nothing in common, but I feel her emotions right alongside her. That just didn't really happen for me in Turning Red, and I think it's just because the movie has tonal problems and underdeveloped characters. To use another example, Lady Bird has some overlap with this movie in terms of its premise. It's about a teenage girl growing up in 2002 who has a tumultuous relationship with her mother. I was never a teenage girl growing up in 2002, and yet this is one of the most relatable movies I've ever seen in my life. One of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. And I didn't get anything out of Turning Red that wasn't already done better in Lady Bird. Or Only Yesterday. Or Luca, Mitchell's, Encanto, Finding Nemo, etc. For me, the tone was just too messy, the messages too muddled, the story too derivative, the characters not nearly complex enough. But I do feel like it's a movie with a lot of potential to connect with a lot of people, and I really don't want to take that away from anyone. After all, this movie will probably really speak to Asian communities and individuals, especially Asian women, which is an incredibly special thing. I'm personally more interested in hearing how much they saw themselves in this story and these characters, compared to getting the perspective of a pasty white boy. Now, there's nothing wrong with pasty white boy perspectives on a movie intended for all audiences, but when a movie is so rooted in a certain cultural context, it's important to hear the thoughts of people who come from a similar cultural context and not drown their voices out. I didn't really like Turning Red, but that doesn't mean other people won't like it, or that they shouldn't like it. No one is the authority on whether or not you personally should enjoy this film. Especially not me. It wasn't excruciating to get through, and it wasn't too narrow in its scope. It was just a bit of a mess for me personally. But its heart is in the right place, and I definitely don't hate it. 5 out of 10, but an A for effort. If you're interested in checking it out, don't let my silly little opinion dissuade you. Especially because I really did love the scene where the girls realized the Boys Who Cry concert was actually coming to Toledo on May 18th, which is in America and they live in Canada. How tragic. Man, if only they had a VPN they could use to trick their browser into thinking they were in America so they could watch the Boys Who Cry concert live streamed to Netflix. Wait, did Netflix exist in 2002? Aha, yes it did. It definitely existed in the same form that it does today as a streaming platform in 2002. So my metaphor still stands. And you know what VPN they could have used? Surfshark VPN, baby. Oh, wait a minute. Who cares? Surfshark is so epic that it transcends time and space. With Surfshark, you can trick your browser into thinking you're in another country, thus allowing you to access exclusive Netflix content you couldn't get otherwise. Plus, with its Surfshark alert system, you can get alerts anytime your email address or password is compromised. Surfshark Alert scans various databases of leaked information and notifies its users if their data is found so they can take action, which is an absolutely invaluable feature. Surfshark's also totally unlimited, so you can take it on as many devices as you like, even all at the same time, which no other VPN allows. You can even use it on this Tamagotchi thing May uses in the movie. Okay, probably not that, but you can use it on everything else. Go to surfshark.deal/realist and enter promo code realist to get 83% off and 3 extra months of Surfshark VPN for free. It's an amazing deal, and it's even better because it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not satisfied, you can cancel during those 30 days and get your money back. If you're looking for a great VPN, there's no reason not to give Surfshark a try. Once again, head to surfshark.deal/realist and enter the promo code realist. Have a great time with Surfshark VPN.